Padlet is an excellent online tool for content creation. It targets multiple modes to engage and represent information and to share formative and summative assessments. And it's an excellent example also for co-creation with students in the classroom. So first of all, sign up to Padlet. So I've just signed up for a free Padlet here. And what you will do is you'll find a menu at the very top. And just before we click on Make, which is what we're going to do in this video, have a quick look at Gallery as well. So in the Gallery, you can see a menu on the left, and you can select the grade level, the age level, and the different kinds of activities that you may like made for you. So there's AI inbuilt within this, and it can help you structure your lessons according to the purpose of the lesson objective. Also, in the Learn section, there are excellent videos that break down different sections and different functionalities of Padlet. The videos are very, very short, 1 or 2 or 3 minutes long, and you can click into what area you want to revisit, and you can watch them at any stage. So for the purpose of just sharing with you how I went through the worked sample, I'm going to go to Make. So this is going to be my first step after signing up. I'm going to click on Make the Padlet. And when I click on Make the Padlet, I will be in a blank board. Again, there are AI recipes here that can help you with a very specific type of lesson that you're making, like a historical event or exit tickets. These are great at the end of lessons, etc. But for the purpose of making a custom Padlet, I'm going to click on blank board. And then what I'm going to do over here is I'm going to click on Shelf. I like Shelf because it organizes the information under a heading in one section. So this helps students to categorize the information appropriately. And sometimes I think that information on a wall, if it's a structured lesson, can be a little bit more difficult to access. So I'm going to click on Shelf for today, and we have a wall, and then I'm going to click on Done. Okay, so Padlet just automatically gives a lesson a title, it automatically decides on the color, etc. But what I'm going to do with you now is I'm going to share with you one that I have already done and show you how we got there. Okay, so this Padlet was opened in exactly the same way, but if we go over to the right hand side, when you're designing the Padlet from scratch, all of the functionalities that you need are on the right hand side, and always start with settings. So if I go into settings, I can see that I can create a heading or modify it, and my heading title was Earthquakes, National Geographic 101. And so the heading appears there. So if you just watch me modify it, I'm going to put it back and my title's created. The description of that I've just put in the I can sentences from the learning goals so that there's great clarity on what I'm intending to achieve with this particular Padlet and what I'm expecting the students to be enabled to do by the end. And you can also design an icon. I've just put in a world because it's linked to geography, but you can create whatever you wish for your class. Again, scrolling down through settings, you can enable students to comment on material, or you can take comments off. It depends on you. And you can also create a URL that is a bit bespoke and easier to access. So I'm calling this one Earthquakes TD3C. So it just means that it's easier to access this Padlet if it's, if you're using a lesson name that the children can connect with. Okay, so just going out of settings for a moment. When I have a blank Padlet, I have sections like this on the shelf. So for the very first video that we took, I clicked on the 3 dots and I renamed the section, and the name of the video was Earthquakes 101 National Geographic, but it was about earthquakes and destruction. So I decided to call it Earthquakes and Destruction, and that's how I create my title. Then when I'm adding to the shelf, There are multiple ways that I can add. So if you hover on top of the icon, it will prompt you as to the functionality of that icon. So I can upload something from my device. I can link a link to a website or to YouTube video, for example, as is the case of this Padlet. I can use the camera to take a photograph in real time or go to my photos. Could do an image search. But the plus 12 is really quite special because if I click on it, there are so many other ways that I can use information, share information, give information. And this really appeals to multiple modes of engaging students, but also multiple modes of representing information that I want them to peruse, but also information that they want to share back to show their learning. And so this is why I've used Padlet today for a co-creation lesson. And ideally, the Padlet would be pretty empty because I would be co-creating it in the moment with the students. However, I've decided to create some guides within this to show how it could manifest itself. So, as described before, there's multiple ways of putting in information. The students can audio record, I can audio record, etc. And so for the first one, what I did was I put in a video. So I can put a link in here. I would have to cut and paste the link and put it in, or I can click on link, here, and I can paste the video link. So it's a YouTube link, and if I click on YouTube, it also will show me. If I wasn't sure which one it was, I can look. I know that it is 2 minutes 57 and it's from the National Geographic, so it's free for me to use. And I can click on that and it appears, and then I can say the instruction. What do I want the student to do with this? I want them to watch this video to understand the impact of earthquakes, for example. And I can also describe something else down here. This video is only 2 minutes long. And this is sometimes important because students prefer to watch provocation videos that are shorter rather than longer. So I can publish that and it will appear just here. Okay, so that's essentially how I created this shelf. Now I've taken a transcript and I've created a transcript here. And then I have added activity questions for the students to engage with. So I have questions on the video here. I have choose how you show what you know. So there is a link here which asks the students to decide how they're going to show their understanding of the learning goals. And there are multiple options, so they can record a video or audio. They can upload it then to Padlet. They can make a poster on an A4 page, they can write a diary entry, they can create a brief presentation, or maybe you can co-create with them another option. And really anything works as long as we're not diluting the learning goal and we're giving them multiple different pathways to show what they know. Again, I've just put a rubric in to give some content to this Padlet. Ideally, this rubric would have more power if it was co-created with students. Definitely they will take more agency in their learning if they are co-creating what their work should contain, and the success criteria for it. This is just a sample. And again, the learning goals expressed in I can sentences are embedded within. And so these items are on separate shelves, and over time, as students work in groups, they can add the answers to the shelf. So for example, if they wanted to put some information here and they were working in a group, they might do an audio recording and they might share that audio recording in the shelf. And so they can share information, other students can see what other pupils are doing. It's great for collaboration. It's excellent to work on outside the classroom too, because they can add to it and then springboard them into the next lesson when they're in the classroom. So really the limitation in terms of how they can use Padlet for co-creation is it's only limited by imagination really. And finally, just to say that at the very end, the Padlet can also be turned into a slideshow and all of the slides can play. So students, when it comes to their section, they could stand up and present back to the class. And so I just think that's a very useful feature as well, for the students to be aware of. And that is the end of this video. I hope that explains how useful it is, and I hope it explains how powerful it can be in terms of what you can do in the classroom. Okay, that's it.